Good morning, guys. We're trying something new with the audio today because I do admit my audio sucks. Anywho, there was a part of the Australian Royal Commission that has definitely been sitting with me funny. There was something there that didn't quite add up. And I finally figured it out. When Geoffrey Jackson did his testimony, he was asked 2 yes or no questions in a row. True to form, they admit to nothing. But in trying to obfuscate, they severely implicated themselves. I don't think he realizes how far-reaching his commentary goes. Which makes a lot of our situations all the more frustrating because we've lost our families over this, and that's just plain wrong. But yeah, he was asked 2 questions in a row, yes or no questions, did not answer either of them. As a matter of fact, he went off on his own little dissertation. Took the opportunity to preach about what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. And let's get into it. So his first question was, do they see themselves as God's, or Jesus' modern day disciples? Do they see themselves as Jesus' modern day disciples? He says they certainly hope to be. It's nothing affirmative. And considering they're starting to realize that the government is realizing how much control and power they have over their congregation members, I feel like this non-affirmative answer is basically a way of getting around saying how much power they have. They don't say anything affirmative, which means they don't feel like they have authority, which means obviously the people who grant them that authority are completely wrong. Now, when you refuse to grant them that authority and you break away from this religion, you know that you are cast out socially. You have the social death sentence. And your disassociation warrants treatment apparently the same as a disfellowshipped person, which I don't agree with that either. However, this is because they are God's only channel of communication. They are the only way to have salvation. And you turning away from them endangers the lives of everybody. So that's how the disassociation doctrine has teeth in their minds. But question number 2, he was asked, do you see yourself as God's channel of communication? A yes or no question. He didn't answer that. He did say it would be presumptuous to say that they were God's only channel of communication. He wasn't asked that. Why did he bring it up? Oh yeah, that's what they put in all of their publications. He knows he's lying. Technically, it would not be presumptuous, but he knows that they are. So he doesn't answer that question. Oh, that's right. But what does that mean if they're not God's only channel of communication? He further qualifies that, by the way, by saying that the scriptures clearly show, now mind you, a lot of their doctrine and rules and principles that they have everybody follow are based on, we can reasonably assume. He didn't use that terminology. He didn't say that we can reasonably assume. He said the scriptures clearly show that one can, let me see my notes. I'm trying to make sure I get this right. One, anyone can act in harmony with God's Spirit. And they're just trying to fulfill, they're attempting to fulfill the parable of the slave, serving food at the proper time. If you're attempting to fulfill a role of a faithful and discreet slave, and anyone can act in harmony with God's Spirit, this is how you're qualifying why you're presumptuous, because you know that you claim that you are presumptuous. It would be reasonable to assume by your publications that you claim to be the only ones, but you are qualifying your statement that you're not by scripture. By what authority do they have to break up families over not agreeing with them? What authority do they have to be masters over people's faith and take out people that are struggling emotionally from the congregation? People that need help. People that need their social circle because they're battling with an addiction or alcoholism or depression or suicidal ideation. Like, there's another YouTuber that got disfellowshipped basically because she had migraines. She needed help. She was seeing auras. And it was the way that her brain was processing light and colors and vision. It was nothing spiritistic at all. Those auras were migraines. They were caused by migraines. Something broken up here that needed to be addressed medically. How many struggling teenagers have been separated from their families? How many people have found out that Jesus is not their mediator? This one still blows my mind. I didn't know that as a Jehovah's Witness. I know it now that they believe that because they try and cover it up and hide it. How do we know that passing the bread and the wine without taking part of it has something to do with the fact that Jesus is not our mediator? It's not just, oh, I can accept that Jesus is not our mediator. Well, how do you know that you're not supposed to be taking part of the bread and the wine? That's another research project I've got. Like, it's just, they are dogmatic. They are authoritarian. They are totalistic. And by Geoffrey Jackson's testimony, which I'm going to put a link to this very specific part that I'm talking about. I happen to find one. I'm going to throw a shout out there. I don't know who this is, but you had exactly what I needed. Thank you. Marcio Maya. I'm going to put it in the description so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, but the scriptures clearly show how much of their doctrine is based on, it can reasonably be assumed. It can reasonably be assumed that because Jesus didn't talk about spirits, this was in a recent Watchtower article. It can reasonably assume that because Jesus didn't talk about spirits, that you shouldn't be talking about spirits either. But the Bible itself does talk about like demon possession and that kind of thing. Jesus never shunned anybody. Even where he said, "Turn away from me, Satan." Or "Get behind me, Satan," whatever. There was still a conversation that led up to that. How did they have that conversation for Jesus to say, "I don't like where this is going. You need to get the heck out of my face"? I don't think Geoffrey Jackson realizes that he just devalued their authority in his testimony. Not just. This was like a couple years ago. But you see what I'm saying. Do you see what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. I'll see y'all in the comments, guys. Thanks.